So I started doing bodybuilding, started competing in shows in 2019, and honestly, if you would have told Margery in 2019 to eat intuitively on a refeed day, and then eat intuitively again on show day, like, I probably would have panicked. I probably would have, like, ate everything in sight. But it's, like, so weird. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't, like, this is so life-changing for me. Like, I've never, like, had a coach just say, like, yeah, just eat a rice cake every couple hours, every hour, you know? Like, I'm someone that tracks, like, calories and macros down to the T. Otherwise, I won't eat it. And, like, legit, like, the past 2 days have been eating intuitively, eating rice cakes with some almond butter. And, yeah, and my physique looks, whoa.
All right, everybody. So that is my client, Margery Lucas. And when she posted that particular video on Instagram, she had just completed a photo shoot. And a little bit of context here. I've been working with Margery as her nutrition coach for a physique competition for several months now, and we are prepping her for an NPC women's bikini competition. And as of the recording of this video, she's just a little inside 3 weeks out. And I wanted to give you a little update. I thought, hey, you know what might be cool is if I did some client updates, you know, real people out in the trenches, what they're doing, what they're competing in, what their goals are, how they're doing it, how we are approaching that prep. So this is a good one to start with. So, and you're going to see more of them. But this is Margery Lucas. And as I said, she is a women's bikini competitor in the NPC. And we're about 3 weeks out. Now, what just occurred, what she's so excited about is 3 weeks prior to her stepping on stage in a competition, she wanted to have a professional photo shoot done. And so what we did is we took her into the photo shoot like we would taking her into her competition. So it was a great trial run. It was a great way to experiment and do a little trial run to see how things would play out and see how her physique looked for the photo shoot. And then we knew that all we'd have to do is just sort of replicate that, hang on for another 2 weeks, go through another peak week, make any adjustments necessary, and then go into the show absolutely ready to rock. And the great news is she did amazing. She looks amazing. And what you're seeing her refer to in the video is this. Margery had previously done a competition and used a strict ketogenic diet, meaning it was predominantly fat with some protein, great, but there was really no carbohydrate interventions at all, and there was not much, there was really no dynamics to how she approached the food. It was just a certain level of caloric ceiling and certain division of macros, and those macros were predominantly, if not exclusively, fat and protein. And she did great. She did great, but she felt it wasn't optimal and could have done better, and wanted to take a little bit different approach and have a little bit more open mind to the process, and hired me to do her nutrition for her latest contest prep. And full disclosure, she has someone else doing her training for her, and she's doing a fantastic job. So I'm really just happy to be part of the team helping Margery with this prep. So again, what she's referring to in the video and what has got her so surprised is, you know, what I did with Margery is I did include, as I often say, a very specific amount of carbohydrates during very specific times and moments through the prep to elicit an exact response. And Margery's goal is physique competition. So it's body composition and aesthetics based. And she is a metabolically healthy young lady. She's fit, she's strong, she trains hard in the gym. She is an incredible client in that she trusts the process, even though the process surprised her to some degree. But she couldn't be any greater human being to work with in a contest prep. So what she's surprised about is, while putting together her nutrition plan, I started to allocate anywhere between 30 to even 60 grams of carbohydrates on any given day, depending on where we were in the prep, what particular movements she was doing, how her physique was progressing, if she was reaching any stalls. We're always working through that and always kind of turning the knobs with that. And honestly, with Margery, she was one of those that responded extremely well to a small carbohydrate intervention within her prep, within her nutrition of her prep. And like many of my clients, we altered the carbohydrate and fat ratios depending on how her body was responding and where we were and how many weeks out we were. We did incorporate regular refeeds, which she responded extremely well to. And we're happy to say that Margery, at the time of this video where you saw her speaking, she had just completed the photo shoot, was amazed with the results. I've seen some of the just unedited photos, not the final pics yet, and I can tell you she looks ridiculously great. And so hopefully I'm going to do a part 2 to this so you can see the results of those, and then hopefully a part 3 where we can see how she does in her competition in just under 3 weeks from now. So, but it was really, really cool to show her how, it's not just one size fits all, that we were constantly kind of pulling the levers and turning the knobs on this and seeing how her body reacted. Did it react favorably? Did it react not so favorably? How can we adjust this to keep things moving along, keep the body fat coming down, maintain her lean mass to really greatly reduce as much as possible any loss of lean mass during the final phases of this prep. I knew I wanted to take her into her first peak week before the photo shoot, the week prior. We did do a fairly strategic depletion of carbohydrates, and then we did a very strategic carbohydrate load. The photos were taken on a Saturday. We started loading carbohydrates on that Friday, and we reduced the fat quite a bit. When you're at that level, protein is not really a big deal. There's really no need for a lot of dietary protein at that point. At that point, it's just about filling out the muscles and pulling any subcutaneous fluids in within the muscle, manipulating all of these factors to make sure that Saturday morning she woke up looking absolutely peeled and lean and hard and full and amazing, but still very, very feminine. And I think we accomplished that, and I'm really, really excited for what's going to happen in less than 3 weeks when she steps on stage. And the great thing about this is, and this is the funny part, I was speaking with Margery yesterday, and now the concern is she too lean? So when you're concerned that you might be too lean, too striated, well, that's a pretty cool place to be. That's a million times better than feeling like you have too much body fat and now it's, some panic damage control in order to get you ready and to try to incorporate some crazy overdone, voodoo, like tons of cardio or deplete this or do that. We don't have to do any of that with her. If anything, we might have to bring up her macros a little bit and do a few calculated little shifts here at the end before we go into her final peak week before the competition to make sure she isn't too striated, or too vascular. Because in women's bikini, you still want to maintain an air of femininity. So I think we're in a fantastic place. I'm looking to do a very specific, very strategic refeed this weekend upcoming, and then we'll keep, taking a look at videos, taking a look at photos, and I'll keep making these fine-tuned little adjustments based on the feedback that I get to take her down to that final peak week in just under 2 weeks before we go into the competition, before she steps on stage. So having this trial run of this photo shoot to be able to sort of have this mock competition was fantastic, because it really allowed me to see how she responded to the carb up prior to the photo shoot. She did amazing, and I think she can tolerate a little bit more, and I think it'll just lend to a little bit more fuller appearance, but yet still absolutely as lean as we wanted. And again, we have the luxury of maybe her being slightly too lean, and we may have to make this tiny little adjustment just to fill that out a little bit, which is not a difficult thing to do. So I'm really, really excited. So I just wanted to give you this fun little update. You know, I'm sitting here thinking, gosh, I'm going through this another, amazing competition prep with a client. And, I'm like, why am I not sharing more of these amazing experiences with you folks, here on this YouTube channel? So I thought, you know what, this is going to be a great start. And then I've got some clients that I've worked with recently, just in the recent past, who've done some competitions. I'm getting in touch with them to do some of these, recap kind of videos and get them actually on the channel as a guest, so we can talk about those experiences and talk about what they went through and some of the nuance of what they did to take them to their most optimized genetics, to get them to the leanest they can possibly be while maintaining as much lean mass as possible and putting together that ideal situation that translates on stage or in front of a camera or at an event, or just, I have clients that said, okay, I'm setting the specific goal date, this far into the future based on the conversations that we have, setting goals, kind of putting the blueprint together of how long do we think we would need realistically. And then we set that date and have that date. It's even if there may not be competing or maybe even not doing photos, we're still looking at it as a goal date to get that client to reach their most optimized genetic aesthetic form. And it's a very, very exciting thing to do. So if you're interested in doing any of that yourself, hey, turns out I do coaching. And, there's links down there if you're interested in doing one of my coaching programs. Just about everybody that you'll see me interviewing here did my gold program. And so if you have an interest in that, check it out. But anyway, Margery is doing awesome. I wanted to give you this cool little client chronicle update to what she's going through, because we've got another one coming up. So I thought this would be kind of a cool part one. And to kind of also reiterate, for some out there in this ketogenic carnivore space who get so dogmatic and just cling so tightly to some very specific ideology that says one size fits all and everybody must do it this one way, it's just not the case, because everybody's different. And I get attacked for this all the time, but a little bit of carbohydrate intervention is not the enemy. Sometimes it can be just what the client needed to take them to that next level and have everything come together. But at the end of the day, my clients are still very much animal-based, carnivore, or ketogenic. And the carbohydrates that we do bring in still only make up a very scant amount of the total caloric intake and division of macros. So, but it's interesting to show and highlight to people that, these strategies work. And it's not about my ideology. It's not about my clicks and follows and likes and subscriptions. It's about what can I do working with this individual to make sure that they get the absolute most out of this relationship, out of this plan, out of this prep, out of this coaching scenario, so they reach the goals that they had intended in their head from the outset. So that's always the goal. So it's about you, it's about the client, and that's why I do this whole YouTube crazy shit anyway. So is to get out there and help you people. So if you like this stuff, I give all this to you for free. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. You know the deal, what all of us do. But it really does help, because the more subscriptions we have, the more it pushes the algorithm to get this content out to like-minded people who might enjoy this kind of crazy stuff and my shenanigans. So again, congratulations to Margery. She's killing it. This is just part one. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how she does on stage and how it all comes together for her. And I really appreciate you guys following along. And I've been kind of out of the loop here for about a month since my last video. And it's because it's everything that I wanted. You know, my coaching practice is exploding. I'm working with some phenomenal people that I'm devoting a lot of time to. And I would love to have you as part of that client list. But I am making some adjustments in my calendar to be able to do more content. And I'm working on a really, really cool video that is going to really be pulling everything that I'm kind of touching on here and in previous videos down to this kind of huge, almost a field manual of here's what you've got to do for you to reach your most optimized genetic form through a hyper carnivore diet and proper training and all the other little X factors that work within that as well. So until next time, I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for being on board. Train hard, diet harder, but above all else, you know the drill. Do whatever you got to do to have a fantastic day. Later, guys.